Direct variation. Our objective is to identify, write, and graph direct variation. Who uses this? Chefs can use direct variation to determine ingredients needed for a certain number of servings. Let's start with some vocabulary. A direct variation is a special type of linear relationship that can be written in the form y equals kx. The constant of variation, k, is the non-zero constant. So k is going to have some non-zero value. Let's look at identifying direct variations from equations. Basically, can it be written in the form y equals k times x? Let's start with this first one. Well, it's already in the form y equals kx, so yes. And then it says, if so, identify the constant. Well, the constant is 4. So now let's try this next one. Can we rewrite it in the form y equals kx? Well, let's try. So we're going to add the 3x to both sides. So we're left with 5y equals 3x. And then we're going to divide by 5 on both sides, leaving us with y equals 3/5 x. Well, yes. In this case, k happens to just be a fraction. It's a non-zero value. Alright, so now let's try this next one. So we're going to move our 2x to the other side because we want y by itself. So we're going to subtract 2x since it's a positive 2x. And 10 and negative 2x are not like terms. Please don't put them together. So we have y equals negative 2x plus 10. You can't write that in this form. It has an extra term in it. So therefore, the answer is no. What happens if you solve y equals k times x for k? So we want to get k by itself. Therefore, let's divide both sides by x, leaving us with k equals y divided by x. So, in a direct variation, the ratio y over x is equal to your k, or your constant of variation. Another way to identify a direct variation is to check whether y divided by x is the same for each ordered pair. So if your y divided by your x is the same each time, then you have a direct variation. Let's practice. Alright, so we have two different methods we can use, just as noted here. So, in our first one, let's write an equation. So y equals 6x. Each value of y is 6 times the x value. So 1 times 6 is 6, 3 times 6 is 18, 5 times 6 is 30. Well, that is in fact a direct variation because y equals kx. K happens to be 6. Well, what if it wasn't as nice to find? You can use method 2. Simply take each of your y's and divide it by x. So y divided by x is 6. Y divided by x is 6. And y divided by x is 6. So each of them are the same, so therefore it is a direct variation. Take a moment and pause the video and try this next one on your own. Alright, so now let's look at trying to write an equation. So it's not as simple here. We have our x, and then if we subtract 4 from that, because 0, is 4 less than 4, 4 is 4 less than 8, negative 2 is 4 less than 2. So that means we would have y equals x minus 4. Okay, well you can't write that in the form y equals k times x. So using method 1, you see that it's not a direct variation. But say you're having trouble coming up with an equation. Well, we can do y divided by x. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. 0 divided by 4 is 0. And then 4 divided by 8 is 1/2. Okay, so they're not all the same, which is another way to say, hey, that's not a direct variation. Alright, so now let's look at writing and solving direct variation equations. So we're going to look at this first one and then you're going to try the next one on your own. Once again, there are two methods you can use. Choose which one you prefer. So we're going to find the value of y that varies directly with x, and y equals 6 when x equals 12. So we want to find y when x equals 27. Alright, so let's start with our direct variation equation. Y equals k times x. So therefore, 6 equals k times 12. Divide both sides by 12 to get k by itself. And, well, 6 divided by 12 is 1/2. So therefore, the equation is y equals 1/2 x, because 1/2 is our k. Well, the second half here of the question gives us that x equals 27. So plug 27 in. What's half of 27? Well, that's 13.5. So therefore, for 6 to vary directly with 12, y is going to have to be 13.5 to vary directly with 27. The other method we can use is a proportion. So 6 over 12 has to equal our unknown y over 27. Notice the y's are on top and the x's are on bottom. So now we can cross multiply. So get the cross product. So we have 6 times 27, which is 162. That equals the other cross product, 12 times y, which equals 12y. Now we simply need to solve for y, so divide both sides by 12, because it says 12 times y, so the opposite of multiplying is to divide, which gives us 13.5. Either method will work, either method will give you the answer you're looking for. Try this next one on your own. Now that you've had a chance to try this next one on your own, let's go through both methods. So, we have y equals kx. We want to figure out what our constant is for our first method. So we have 4.5 equals k times 0.5. So to get k by itself, we need to divide both sides by 0.5. So 4.5 divided by 0.5 leaves you with 9, so 9 equals k. So now let's put this into our equation. So we have y equals our constant, which is 9, and the x value that we're trying to vary directly with is 10. So therefore, y must equal 90. Well, let's try using a proportion. In case some of you preferred that method. So we have 4.5 over 0.5 must equal y over 10. And now we get the cross products. So we have 4.5 equals y times 0.5. sorry, 4.5 times 10. I meant to write the 10 in there. Okay, so we have 4.5 times 10 equals y times 0.5. So 10 times 4.5 is 45, which equals y times 0.5. And then if we divide by 0.5 on both sides, we end up with 90 equals y. So either method you choose, you still come out with the same result in the end. Let's look at graphing direct variations. The three-toed sloth is an extremely slow animal. On the ground, it travels at a speed of about 6 feet per minute. Write a direct variation equation for the distance y a sloth will travel in x minutes. Then graph it. So let's start by writing a direct variation equation. Well, since it goes 6 feet per minute, well, that would be 6x, so y equals 6x. Now we need to choose some values of x and generate some ordered pairs. So let's go with 0, 1, and 2. So 0 times 6 is 0, 1 times 6 is 6, and 2 times 6 is 12. So now we simply plot our 3 points, and we have ourselves a graph. And that ends our lesson on direct variation.